Speaking of casual, let's talk about Bill Barr. He is the top law enforcement officer in the country who has essentially corrupted the Department of Justice and using it exclusively to protect the president. Roger Stone was convicted by a jury of 7 counts of obstruction, lying to Congress, with the potential of something like 20 years in prison from all those counts. The prosecutors recommended a lot, somewhere around 9 years, which is a lot for that, ostensibly as a way of trying to get him to talk, because there is a belief that he knows a lot of stuff that he is not making aware to investigators, and they want him to talk. Here is Bill Barr. This is just a clip of an ABC News interview that is going to go live right this weekend or something. Longer version. But here he is, and the response to this has been basically in 2 different camps. One is with credulity. The other is give me an effing break. Remember, Donald Trump, the prosecutors made this recommendation. A day later, Donald Trump tweets that this is a miscarriage of justice. And then hours later, Bill Barr says, well, I'm taking over that recommendation. That recommendation is too strong, and we're gonna revise it. And now he claims that he had already made that decision after he heard the recommendation. He was already going to overrule his own career prosecutors, which is extremely rare. And now he's just going to argue that Trump, by tweeting, makes it look like I'm listening to him, which is really the problem.
Have public statements and tweets made about the department, about our people in the department, our men and women here, about cases pending in the department, and about judges before whom we have cases, make it impossible for me to do my job and to assure the courts and the prosecutors in the department that we're doing our work with integrity.
Mr. Barr, the president does not like to be told what to do. He may not like what you're saying. Are you prepared for those ramifications?
Of course, as I said during my confirmation, I came in to serve as Attorney General. I am responsible for everything that happens in the department, but the thing I have most responsibility for are the issues that are brought to me for decision. And I will make those decisions based on what I think is the right thing to do, and I'm not going to be bullied or influenced by anybody. And I said at the time, whether it's Congress, newspaper, editorial boards, or the president, I'm going to do what I think is right. And, I think I cannot do my job here at the department with a constant background commentary that undercuts me.
What a joke of a follow-up. That's just giving into his ridiculous premise and bolstering it. Yeah.
I mean,
the premise that he presented is entirely obviously false and a lie, and the follow-up is just there to help out that lie?
I have another theory that the way you get that interview is by saying, what do you want to say? I will help you say it. Because clearly, first of all, no one has gotten away with saying a public comment like that and stayed in the Trump administration. Nobody. The guy is basically just setting up a Bill Barr in that situation in a way that no journalist who hasn't already. I mean, this is what they do. I mean, we've seen leaked, emails to different people over the years where you see a journalist saying, like, you need to get your story out. And this is the way that Bill Barr ends up giving this exclusive ABC interview at this moment. He chose the time. Nobody brought the sentencing question to Bill Barr. He just said, like,
Right.
when I'm asked a question, I've got to respond to it. Nobody brought him that. At least nobody in the DOJ. There's nobody tasked with doing that. The prosecutors made their recommendation. To the extent that they would have ever brought it to him, why did they all resign en masse? That is an interview that would not have happened had they not resigned. Now, supposedly, the House is going to bring them in to testify in front of the Judiciary Committee. They're going to do it before, because they said they wanted Barr in. Barr said, I'll come in 6 weeks, which is like, in 6 weeks, if this hasn't died down, I'll come up with a reason why I can't come in. But now they're going to have these folks who resigned from, at the very least, from the case, and one of whom resigned from the Department of Justice, come in and testify. And I hope they're public hearings. I mean, this is highly problematic because, well, not the least of which, we're watching essentially Bill Barr make it so that Donald Trump does not have to provide any pardons. This is his way of signaling to all these people. They're just broke that he is going to be installed an outside prosecutor. I don't even know what that means. Outside prosecutor. They're all outside prosecutors. There is no outside prosecutor.
Right.
There is, like, you can
This
have.
wasn't an inside case. This was not in part of the impeachment proceedings. Is that like what he's trying to?
Well, it's being reported, and it's just like, this term doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Outside.
A prosecutor.
They probably defined it themselves.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is that the Department of Justice, and that's what's so sort of weird about this.
Well, outside prosecutor is supposed to give the appearance and has, when in the context of, say, like congressional hearings or like the Kavanaugh hearings, it's supposed to give the appearance of impartiality, but it actually means nothing.
It means,
in this case,
it means nothing. I mean, we have a special counsel is a prosecutor who's appointed that has some measure of independence from the Department of Justice, to the extent that he still has to report to Barr. He still could get fired by Barr. He's just not constrained by, being attached to a specific office. But essentially, there is no independent counsel like we had during the Ken Starr era. The legislation that allowed for that was essentially repealed following the Clinton era. I don't know what this means. I mean, the Times has written this outside prosecutor.
Do the outside prosecutors do lawyer lawsuits?
Yeah, exactly.
Lawyer lawsuits?
Mr. Barr has installed a handful of outside prosecutors to broadly review the handling of other politically sensitive national security. So he's just getting another crony to supposedly investigate this. And this is just a way of him essentially letting Flynn off the hook and giving him some deniability that he's involved in it. And it's highly problematic. Highly problematic.
I mean, and it just doesn't, it strains credulity that Barr would be making this decision out of the blue on his own. Like, it's just so obvious when you can connect the dots. And the fact that journalist chose to, like, feign ignorance about it, that's pretty gross.
Yeah. Well, this is the game that he's playing, and Barr knows exactly how to play it. They know exactly which reporters. They know exactly which reporters that they can talk to and get this stuff delivered in the way they want to deliver it. And hopefully, the House Judiciary is motivated to do something about it. Let's do this clip here. Play this clip of Kamala Harris. We'll remind people. Now, remember,
this is something she's good at.
Yes. Remember, Barr traveled the world with Rudy Giuliani, trying to investigate the Bidens. And Rudy is still out there doing it. In fact, Brendan, make sure that we have that clip. But here is Bill Barr being asked. This is back in 2019. in a hearing with the Senate Judiciary Committee. Here it is.
Attorney General Barr, has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone?
I wouldn't.
Yes or no?
Could you repeat that question?
I will
Oh,
repeat
man.
it. Has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone? Yes or no, please, sir?
The president or anybody else?
Seems you would remember something like that and be able to tell us.
Yeah, but I'm trying to grapple with the word suggest. I mean, there have been discussions of matters out there that they have not asked me to open an investigation, but
Perhaps they've suggested,
I don't know. I wouldn't say suggest.
hinted,
I don't know.
inferred.
Oh.
You don't know. Okay.
I don't know.
No.
How do you answer that question with an I don't know?
Wow. I mean, look, we all had problems with her as a presidential candidate, but there's something so satisfying to me watching a prosecutor doing, for the right reasons, like a lawyer just lawyering so well.
Well, that's somebody who should be prosecuted. Like,
Right, exactly.
And he is
If we're
expert
gonna have-
at responding in that way. You
But
notice
she's,
her-
but it's
but
like
she's
a chess match.
she's on top of it.
But
yes.
they're both, two sides of the same coin in that sense. I just think, it's satisfying for me to see that.
Yeah, if we're
it's
gonna
fascinating
have
when
jails
he
and
says
prosecutors, they should be deployed against people like him.
when he says when he responds to her question, no one asked me, and then she says, that's why I said
I loved
suggest as well.
hinted.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
it's just like, pull out the thesaurus. He's going to say, I don't know, or move
He's
to
got
the next.
a multitude
the next
of
verb.
possible verbs. Let's